Last year, 68 people died, 129,000 people were displaced, and billions of naira was lost across the country due to flooding. It's become a yearly ritual. Flood warnings are given to the states. Those flood warnings are ignored. The floods come with their devastation. The state governors ask for compensation, and the cycle repeats itself every year. Will 2021 be any different? The FCT administration is being proactive this year, and we'll show you how in our feature story. My guest on the program is the Director General of the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, Engineer Clement Nze. And he tells me this year may not be different from last year, as long as state governors continue ignoring the flood warnings. And as usual, we take you to Nigeria's seat of power with our Abuja wrap. This is Dateline Abuja. Hello and welcome to Dateline Abuja. I am Kayla Megwa. We thank God for the rain. We pray for it. Farmers depend on it. The rain is our friend. But the rain comes with devastation, which, to be honest, can be avoided. In Nigeria, the rain brings fear in the hearts of many because of this devastation, a reality many people must deal with every year. We'll get to that shortly. First, the president has traveled for a medical checkup and should be back in the country in the second week of April. Before he left, he had a meeting with the security chiefs, the chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, the National Assembly leadership, and attended the Bola Ahmed Tinubu colloquium. Also this week, we're informed that we could face jail time if we do not get our national identification number. It's time for our Abuja wrap.
President Muhammadu Buhari has revealed that one of the objectives of his administration is to transform Nigeria into an industrialized nation with the help of the gas sector. The president stated this when he virtually launched the Decade of Gas in Nigeria at the Nigeria International Petroleum Summit Conference.
Our major objective for gas sector is to transform Nigeria into an industrialized nation with gas playing a major role. Remarkable progress has been made to achieve this objective. This includes developing gas infrastructure, promoting domestic utilization of LPG and CNG, commencing the process of commercializing gas flares, development of industrial and transport gas markets, and increasing gas to power.
The president also virtually participated in the 12th colloquium of the national leader of the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, held in Kano State, where he said Nigerians are better and even stronger together as a nation.
Today's event promises an even more relevant and impactful discussion than ever before. The theme for this 12th edition, our common bond, our commonwealth, the imperative of national cohesion for growth and prosperity, speaks to a very contemporary but potentially ruinous trend, which in my view, we must all join hands to check at once.
The president received a couple of visitors as well, and leading the pack is the leadership of the National Assembly. The Senate President, Senator Ahmed Lawan, and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila, were in the State House to discuss the supplementary budget to fund COVID-19 vaccination and procurement of military hardware. The chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, Governor Kayode Fayemi of Ekiti State, also met with the president. He tells the media that the president is accelerating moves towards procuring additional military equipment.
From the president now on this issue is that he's already informed the National Assembly that they would be receiving a special request from him on procurement of equipment on an accelerated basis for our security services.
The president also had a meeting with service chiefs where he asked security agencies to identify leaders of bandits and kidnappers and take them out to restore confidence and normalcy in the affected areas. Meanwhile, the president left the country for the United Kingdom for a routine medical checkup. The president has embarked on several trips to the UK to seek medical care since he assumed office in 2015, but he has not been to the UK since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. He's expected back in the country in the second week of April. Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo presided over the 40th virtual meeting of the Federal Executive Council. The meeting, which was also attended by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Mustapha, and the Chief of Staff to the President, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, had 8 ministers physically in attendance. Among the ministers is Zainab Hamed, who explained that the federal government is proposing to spend 396 billion naira for the COVID-19 vaccination in 2021 and 2022. A supplementary budget is expected to cater for the 2021 component of the vaccination exercise. Professor Osinbajo also chaired the Tripartite Consultative Committee, which is made up of the executive, the legislature, and members of the ruling All Progressives Congress. The committee promised to help the security agencies in the fight against insecurity in the country. Over 51 million Nigerians have now been enrolled for the National Identity Number. Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Dr. Issa Pantami, disclosed this at the 6th series of the ministerial briefing organized by the presidential media team at the State House. Dr. Pantami explains that failure to obtain the NIN can lead to imprisonment as stipulated by the Nigerian Constitution.
Welcome back. Now let's get into today's feature story. We are looking at flooding in the FCT and the FCT administration's attempt at being proactive before the floods get here around June, July and August. This week, the Abuja Emergency Management Agency took their advocacy to the flood-prone areas of Gwagwalada and Lokogoma. Last year, 13 people died from the floods and over 400 people were displaced in the FCT. The plan is to take that figure all the way down in 2021.
The rains are here, and residents of some parts of the nation's capital will not forget some of the tragedies of last year. Houses and property were washed away as the heavy downpour claimed several lives in Gwagwalada, Suleja and other parts of the nation's capital. According to the FCT Emergency Management Agency, 13 lives were lost and over 400 people were displaced in the flood. According to the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, the northern part of the country should expect rains from May, with the peak expected in June. This explains why the FCT Emergency Management Agency is not leaving much to chance, urging residents to prepare for the rains and avoid environmental actions that could lead to flooding in the territory.
We have carried out the risk assessment immediately after last year's flood disaster, and we discovered that some areas need to be reviewed or taken care of by either Development Control, STDD, or Environmental Protection Board. And that is the reason why we are here. We'll go around and take stock of those areas and see to themselves there is an area that we saw very close in the city, the Life Camp roundabout. If you go there, you won't be able to see the end of the tunnel. So it is blocked completely with sands and so many bottles, rubber, what do you call it? Plastic rubbers in that area. So, and there are also areas that some people built on the waterways between last rainy season to today, and some people are diverting the waterways also. Only last week, the Honorable Minister received a complaint that somebody was diverting the waterways. And by the time we went there, we saw a caterpillar walking, diverting the waterways to another part, leaving his area where he wants to build illegally. So a lot of activities are going on in the city, which are causing flooding. And then at the end of the day, we now put blames to the government. We put blames to every agency that they are not doing their job. There must be a collective responsibility by all residents of the FCT so that we can save ourselves from this flooding.
Over the years, the FCT has had her fair share of flood disaster. In 2012, Nigeria witnessed her worst flood disaster. Gwagwalada was the only town that witnessed the disaster back then. Before then, flood was not a common phenomenon in the Federal Capital Territory. But this has changed, as residents now have to contend with floods almost every time there is a heavy downpour. In August 2017, tragedy struck when a man and two of his children died while trying to drive out of one of the estates in Lokogoma, a suburb in the Federal Capital Territory. On Saturday, June the 2nd, 2018, 6 people died when a flood overflew a culvert and took with it a Sienna bus with 4 passengers and a motorcycle with passengers in Kashi suburb. On August the 2nd, 2019, a director at the FCT High Court died in a flood close to the Galadimawa roundabout. The campaign is taken to other communities that experienced flood disasters last year, and the authorities are prepared to remove structures that are standing in the way of the flood.
After the post-disaster assessment, we reported, development control came here, satellite town development also came, and they carried out their own assessment too. You can see very well that some of the houses are marked. That notwithstanding, you can see that some houses, they are already erecting the building again. So development control is here, satellite town development, you are here, environmental is here, area council secretariat, you are all here. The purpose of this assessment is to know the condition of this location and to make sure what happened last year doesn't happen again. So we have done the needful and we are calling the attention of these relevant agencies to please take action.
The way the people come here, the promise was that as this problem is coming, they must help the people who get problem for here, like material feeding. From that day to today, we will not see anything. And madam, they not get another allocation to pack themselves. And they promise that any houses who have problem, the government come and help them with the zinc and mattress at the material feeding, and we will not see anything from today. We tell them that the problem, we ask them to stop. They say where we will carry them, they will stay. And we will not have anything to where to carry them to locate another education for them. That's my government can find way to locate them, maybe to be better for us. But we under government, we cannot do without government because government is enter the issue. That's why we cannot do anything for land for them.
Although the Nigeria Hydrological Service Agency is yet to present the flood outlook for this year, 4 area councils in the nation's capital experienced flood disaster in the Federal Capital Territory. They are Gwagwalada, Buari, Kwali, and the Abuja Municipal Area Council.
My guest on the program is Engineer Clement Nze, the Director General, Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency. He walks us through some of the challenges faced by the agency as it tries to help stop flooding across the country. And on top of that list is the fact that many state governors ignore the flood warnings and do not prepare for the floods. And there's more. Nigeria does not have a sufficient reservoir to handle the water released from dams like the Lagdo Dam in Cameroon into Nigeria. Engineers, welcome to Dateline Abuja.
Thank you. You're welcome.
The rains are coming, and every year it's like a recurring decimal where floodings will happen. Governors will cry out. They will ask for funding. The funding will come. Everybody will pretend that it hasn't devastated everybody for a while. Then the next year we'll start again, the same process. I haven't seen a change, at least personally. I haven't seen a change in the modus operandi when it comes to flooding in this country. Talk to us about why this is the same situation every single year and what major challenge the agency is facing.
In fact, what you mentioned here is quite pathetic. Year in, year out, the agency goes out on air early enough to sensitize the citizens. Like in 2020, because of the pandemic, the Honorable Minister of Water Resources, Engineer Suleiman Adamu, authored letters to each of the governors in Nigeria. Each governor was informed. These are the local government areas in their own state that will be affected by flood in the course of the year 2020. Details were given, documents were supplied, dispatched to the government house in each of the states in Nigeria. It was only a few states that heeded that warning. Now,
when you say heed the warning, maybe put things in place.
Put things in place, yes,
Okay.
that's what I mean. Put things in place. Like I was in the studio with the governor of Kebbi State, His Excellency, Senator Abubakar Bagudu. He mentioned that the agency's prediction and the early warning helped them to ensure that not much was lost, even though you can't forestall flooding 100%.
So
that lost a lot in terms of agricultural land.
Give me an idea of how this works. So if you send a letter to a state and you said there's going to be flooding in such and such and such local government area, what can the government do? What can the state government do to forestall that situation?
One, the aggressive campaign to deseat every canal, especially within the cities, clear the drainages, ensure that people who are doing agricultural practices within the river banks are relocated within safe time, so that they can be visiting the place of the agricultural practice, and then instead of them being consumed overnight by the flood, these are things that could be done. Then pull down structures that are within the flood plains, remove all of them. It's better that you save lives and property than to lose life, lose property. People doing business within the flood plain. So this is what most of those who heeded our warnings, they did. But
so like you're saying many state governors do not heed these warnings?
They don't. They only wait for when the problem has happened, and then NEMA and other humanitarian agencies begin to dole out materials, mattresses, buy rice, and all kinds of things. And again, you spend so much in the area of rehabilitation and then you ask me a question about our challenges.
Yes.
The agency, the entire country is our catchment, is our constituency. We do a lot of travels. We cover the entire country. We measure most of the rivers in Nigeria and their tributaries. So the agency has some challenges when it comes to operational vehicles to keep one moving. Like we move everywhere, every part of the country.
So just vehicles?
We need operational vehicles. We need tools for our forecasting, our prediction.
What kind of tools?
Computers. We need the equipment we use to weigh the rivers, what we call DCPs, ADCP. We used to take like boat. Conventionally, let me just use that word simply. Boat we used to take measurements in our rivers. So some of things are not adequate enough. Manual gauge stations that we measure the rivers every day. Every day. Yeah, if I call somebody in local, then he will tell me by 6 a.m. this morning, this was the flow, the height. I can tell you what it means. So we take measurements every day. And so it affects the issue of funding. I know it is a global issue or across the country, not only the agency, but instead of spending so much to do rehabilitation, relief materials, I think such part of it should be diverted to the agency to enable us to do proper prediction. And
Speaking
they're
of
warning.
prediction, we've not gotten the flood prediction for
Yeah,
2021.
yes,
And the rains are here.
yes, the rain's already here.
Would
But
even if you gave us the flood prediction for 2021 today,
yes,
would the governors of these states be able to take the actions necessary before the flood starts?
actually, as we speak, Taraba State is in the field. Sorry, Jigawa State. In fact, yesterday I spoke with one of the special assistants to the governor. They have been working based on they have been told. KB State has been working. That's the first casualty in terms of the flow of River Niger into Niger. That's the first point. When the River Niger enters Nigeria, KB State is the first. I am in touch with the governor, with some commissioner. One of them called me yesterday to tell me what they are doing.
Okay, so those are them. They are being
Being
proactive. Okay,
And
so
then to your question is this. Now, there is flooding in Nigeria actually starts from June. Actually, July, August, September, part of October. That's where the time the soil moisture content,
that's a
is
month
high.
from today.
I'm talking about July.
Okay, so 2 months from today.
Okay, if you say so.
Will 2 months
And
be
in
enough?
September, you still have May, you still have June.
Okay. Okay. So let's talk about how this has been going on. Last year alone, 68 people died
Yes.
from flooding. 68 people lost their lives. 129,000 people were displaced.
Yes.
And that's across the country and the FCT. So this is despite the early warnings, because last year your agency had the time, because everyone was on lockdown, you were able to give out all of these warnings early last year. So despite the early warnings from you, so do you think governments at various levels are doing enough to avert these cases? And you've talked about the fact that not many state governments are obeying the warnings that you give. So what can be done about that situation? How do we get them to be more serious about this? Or is it just easier for governors not to do anything, and then when the flooding happens, they all make their way to the villa and ask for funding? My people have been devastated. I have lost such and such farmlands. Our agricultural produce will not come out. We need money, we need money. Is it easier for them to do that? Do you think that's the reason why they don't heed these early warnings?
It looks like that one is much attractive than to do the needful. You see, during political campaigns, the politicians in the states use various media to get to the grassroots to do their campaign. The agency is saying that the same aggression with which politicians mobilize people should also be mobilized to enlighten them about the dangers of flooding. It is only the government that has the apparatus that can wield any power. Every state government has a town planning authority. Minister of Water Resources, Minister of Environment, each state government has it. What are they doing? Removing the structures that are within the floodplains, ensuring that people don't build in those places, and enforcing people to do sanitation, to clean up their gutters. So this falls within the work that the state government should be able to do. Get to the grassroots, to enforce discipline with regards to throwing away garbages here and there.
Well, Engineer Nze, thank you so much for being with us on Dateline.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to have been here.
Floods are inevitable, but its effects can be mitigated. All it takes is political will and matching words with actions. It may be easier for some leaders to do nothing and seek compensation when the devastation from flooding happens. But that's just wrong, and history will judge such leaders. As a people, we should seek to make our country better than we met it. So, avoid building on floodplains, keep your gutters clean, and if you live in a flood-prone area, it's time to consider moving. That's Dateline Abuja this week. Remember to let us know the happenings in your neighborhood using the social media handles showing on your screen. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Kayla Megwa. See you next time.